Why are you making a list? Christmas is over.
It's for cook, dear. I'm suggesting some of Jason's favorite meals, so that when he returns home, he'll be greeted by the aroma of grilled lamb and rosemary potatoes. Oh, perhaps I should notify the upstairs staff to give his room a thorough cleansing. It's not in the nature of boys to be as tidy as we are.
Are you going upstairs?
In a minute, Edward. First, I must take my list to the kitchen. Oh, and Emily, dear, be sure and don't stay up too late.
I won't.
I'll be up later.
Can I ask you a question? Why are you letting Grandmother act like Jason's all right?
Nobody, including me, lets Lila do anything. She is her own woman.
Yeah, but it's as if she thinks Jason's in the hospital for a sprained ankle or something. Like everything's all right, even though it's not.
We don't know yet that it's not.
Yes, we do. He was in an awful accident, and his head is in a terrible condition. How can it be good for Jason's grandmother not to face the truth?
He opened his eyes, Ned. He's coming back to us. It's a little premature for that, don't you think? Oh, man, I feel like I can breathe again.
Just because he opened his eyes doesn't mean he's walking out of here.
Hey, man, you say whatever you want. You can't change what I think.
Why don't you let Tony finish examining him first before you leap to conclusions? He's the only one who knows what's going on. Go ahead. Take a good look at Tony's face. You still think everything's all right?
Okay. So what we're seeing right now is a higher level of consciousness, but he is not fully conscious.
Oh, wait a second. I'm confused here. His eyes were just open.
But they weren't focused. It's not uncommon for a patient in a quasi-conscious state to experience random physical movements. In fact, please don't be alarmed if the nurses have to put him in restraints to keep him from disconnecting the IV.
Do we have reason to be optimistic?
Cautiously optimistic. I think we're going to see some progress from this point on, but it's going to take time to assess the extent of damage to his brain, and there's no way I can make a prognosis until I have more information.
Yes, but any progress is a good sign, Tony.
Absolutely. I'm just simply saying that I can't give you any definitive answers right now.
This is the beginning of Jason coming back to us. I know it is.
Why don't you all go home and get some rest? Amy's taking over for me in a few minutes, and she knows to call you if there's any change.
Grandfather and grandmother should probably be filled in before they go to bed. Do you need a ride?
Oh, thank you, Ned, but I'm not ready to leave yet.
I'm going to stay here with Monica. We've had more sleep than any of you.
Dad, 4 hours of sleep is not enough. We should just go home.
It's plenty. We're just fine.
Listen, why don't you let me stay with him? There's a couple things I want to say to Jason. I know he doesn't really know who's in the room, but...
Well, listen, Amy's going to be here in a few minutes. I'm going to be around. Why don't you go home?
Mom, please.
Oh, AJ,
Mom,
really?
I need to be alone with him. It would help me. It's important.
Well, all right. We'll be back in just a few hours.
I'll be right by his side.
Emily, truth is not necessarily an absolute. It can just as easily be subjective.
I don't understand. Either something's true or it isn't.
By whose definition? Now, the truth for Lila is that Jason's coming home and all's right with the world.
Yeah, but that truth belongs just to grandmother. Nobody else sees it that way.
Oh, now you're beginning to get my point. You see, thinking positively gives her great comfort. That's all the truth she needs.
Just feels wrong to me.
All right, all right. Now, suppose we force her to confront the fact that her beloved grandson is in critical condition. What good will that do?
It'll keep her from getting her hopes up. I mean, what happens if Jason doesn't make it?
Shh, shh, shh. I won't stand for that kind of negativity in my home.
But what if it happened? She'd be even more upset because she didn't get a chance to get used to it. I think you don't trust Lila to be a grown-up.
On the contrary, she is the most mature and sensible grown-up I've ever known.
Then maybe you're just afraid to see her unhappy.
Emily, I am trying to illustrate an important life lesson. Now, when you are faced with an alleged incontrovertible truth, the first thing you have to decide is, whose truth is this? And if I choose to buy it, then how will it benefit the person who is so hell-bent on selling it to me? Now, I realize that this may seem like an overly defensive posture, but believe me, it is the only way to survive in a world where everybody expects you to behave in a way that suits them.
Ah, yes. Quartermain values being passed on from one generation to the other.